Right, ladies and gents, just formally welcome to the very important topic to kick off our free Friday lunch webinar series for 2026 that talks about successful goal achievement in 2026 and beyond. Please be aware of the fact, if you might have just joined us, that the session is recorded. If you don't know me, I am heading up an organization called Soldati, the Southern African Leadership Development and Training Institute. And maybe just a couple of notes on before we start. How to handle the content. Simply identify those areas across today's presentation and ask yourself, where am I lacking? Where can I do more? And where can I close the gaps? Please mute unless you ask a question, which we'll get to at the end. I'll aim for more or less three minutes of Q&A. Please mail me if you want to get added to the distribution list directly from me, if you might have received this invitation for the session via somebody else. Please mail me with future topics. Amelia Forster, thank you very much for sending me those topics. Much appreciated. The recording will be available afterwards on our website. And then just a kind request. I had it a couple of times where people write on our screen. Please don't do that if you wouldn't mind. We can see who you are, by the way. We do record these sessions also to be loaded on our website. Right, so Hekkie does not. A couple of disclaimers. I don't have the magic wand. You don't attend a 30-minute session with me and then all of a sudden this area in your life is sorted. Not at all. But I would like to introduce you to new perspectives that will hopefully pave the way for you to do things differently better. Think of it as I thought about it earlier before the session, as attending church or mosque or whatever your place of religion or worshiping is. It's an injection, right? But ultimately, the onus is on you and me to go and execute and make it happen and apply it in practice. My invitation is that you please reflect. You hold up the proverbial mirror and you ask yourself, where can I do better? And where can I improve? And that's ultimately the idea, that I assist through these webinars to be able to share with you tools, methods, and techniques to make exactly that happen. And please pay it forward. Another invitation to you. Share it with people, even in your families, whichever teams you operate in, at work, away from work, and pay it forward and share it with them if you see people might benefit from this. I want to kick off this presentation with a quote from my dear sister who lives in Canada, which she sent me a couple of years ago. And with some of you, I have shared this before, but in the context today, it's a very important quote. And it says by Brianna West, who's a young American writer. She says that true self-care is not salt baths and chocolate cake. Now, up to that point, it seems like a girly quote, right? But here's the punch. True self-care is making the choice to build a life you don't need to or want to then regularly escape from. And that's what I want to focus on. And in terms of today's discussion around goal setting and goal achievement, I would like to submit that if you are successful at that, goal setting, goal achievement, it will enable you to live a life that you don't want to regularly escape from. And I'm not talking about your New Year's resolutions, right? Let's just get that straight. Because New Year's resolutions does not work, by the way. The research tells us that 4 out of 5 New Year's resolutions fade very quickly after you've made them at the beginning of the year. And in fact, some of them might have already faded, the ones you made 3 days ago. So what happens if somebody lies to you or break their promise? You will immediately tell me that it breaks, it tarnishes, it affects the trust relationship with that person, right? Well, in this case, you're making a promise to yourself, which you are breaking very soon after you've made it. And what happens then? We effectively lie to the one person that we can't afford to lie, and that's to ourselves. So the thing with New Year's resolutions are that it's a fad that fades very quickly, and it's not sustainable, certainly not. So the question then that you might ask is, but Hekkie, what is sustainable, and what do we do then if New Year's resolution or resolutions aren't the answer. Well, it's quite simple, but it's not that simple, right? We need to follow and apply a structured approach to goal setting. And you might say to me, but Hekkie, goals I keep in my head, man. I had a lot of coaches that I deal with in leadership coaching sessions to my clients that tells me I've got it in my head. I don't need to write it down. It doesn't need to be structured. Well, might be the case that it works for you, but I would submit once again that if you structure it, like I'm going to take you through and explain to you as part of this presentation today, it will be much more effective. It will have much more of a positive impact on your life. You might even say to me, okay, I'll start structuring it and have a back of a cigarette box, old saying, process to goal setting, goal achievement. You might get better results than doing it just informally in your head, but you might not get as good results as properly structuring it, reviewing it, reflecting on it, adjusting it, etc., etc. So the question is, where do I start? Well, I want to point to the very important issue of if I'm not motivated, nothing will succeed. If I'm not motivated, things are not going to happen in my life. It doesn't matter what it is. Goal setting, relationships, conflict management, whatever. Pick any aspect of your life. Hard skills and soft skills, the latter being the area that I operate in, which includes leadership skills. We have to be motivated. Otherwise, it won't happen, or it might be very short-lived, like our New Year's resolutions. So, have a look at this video. Stunning video around documenting our goals. Just let me know immediately, Maggie, if you don't hear the sound, please.
Perfect.
Hi, I'm 2000 Olympic gold medalist Laura Wilkinson, and today I want to talk to you about the importance of setting goals. I know it may sound simple, even trivial, but goal setting is the most crucial aspect in actually achieving your goals. If you don't have a goal or a dream that you're striving for, aiming at, working toward, the world is just going to pass you by like you're standing still. You're not going to accidentally do great things. You have to want to do them. When you have a goal or a dream, it gives your life purpose, meaning, direction. Life doesn't have to just happen to you. You can learn to live it intentionally. I always dreamed of winning an Olympic gold medal, and it became my goal. And without that, I never would have achieved it. Any Olympic athlete will tell you, you're not going to accidentally make the Olympic team. You are not going to accidentally just happen to win an Olympic gold medal one day. Sure, there's always a lot of factors at play, but in every situation, there was hard work, determination, and perseverance toward that goal that got them there. My coach, Kenny Armstrong, loves to say, setting challenging goals creates a fear of failure, but setting no goals guarantees it. Start by making your goal real. Write it down. Even if it seems ridiculously out of reach to you, write it down. Look at it every single day. Start to believe that it's possible. When you practice something daily, it becomes routine, habit, tangible. It starts to become real. After a while, it's not going to feel so out of reach anymore. Before a dream ever has a chance at becoming reality, you have to believe that it can be. You have to want to make it a reality. And yes, it's true. We don't always reach our goals. Dreams, they don't always come true. But sometimes dreams do come true. That makes them worth fighting for, worth going after. What's your dream? What's your goal? Go write it down.
Darby Checkett said, only goal setters who are goal writers are truly goal achievers. And I believe in that. Let me ask you, and please shout it out. I'm not going to go off presentation mode. What happens if we don't write down our goals? If we don't document it? Well, I've kind of given you the answer, right? It gets lost. It's a question of only when you write it down can you truly formulate or finalize the idea that you've got in terms of what you want to achieve in whatever area of your life, right? If we don't write it down, how do we review it? How do we adjust it, change it, etc., etc.? And the importance is that in all areas of our lives, we need to ask ourselves, what do I want to achieve? What is my motivation to achieve something on my balanced wheel for my life, which is different from the one in your life? It's unique to all of us. What I want to achieve with this one life, only one life that we are blessed with to live on earth. We don't get a second chance to live this life as we know it on earth again. Only one life. And question is, where do I start? Like in coaching interventions, as one of the areas of interventions that we do from a leadership development point of view, asked all my coaches, all our coaches, what do you want to be sustainably different, differently better, in other words, in 2026 and beyond? And if you've got the motivation in all the areas of your life to know and to document what you want to achieve, I suggest you ask that question. What I want in each of these areas to be differently better going forward, for how long it might last, maybe till the end of your life. You want to live a differently better life in respect of achieving what you want to achieve in each one of these areas. So I believe in the importance of stretching. And I love this quote from Michelangelo. The greater danger for most of us lies not in setting our aim too high and falling short, but in setting our aim too low and meeting our mark. Because then we actually just use the half of our potential. Now, as much as I believe in stretching and getting the most value out of this one life that we've got on earth, I also believe on the flip side of that, that we can't do that to the detriment of not having fun. We can't be so stretched to sleep 5 hours a night because I want to achieve what I want to achieve. And ultimately, you get to the end of your life and you ask yourself, but I never enjoyed my life. I didn't have fun. Obviously, responsible fun, like what you see there. I think it's important to take that into account when you set your goals and you try and stretch. So, no question, it is important that we not only document our goals, but we also don't allow it to gather cobwebs and dust. It needs to be a living document. We need to look at it often, reflect upon it often, at least weekly, I would suggest. Why? Well, it's simple. The things that are top of mind are the things that we pay attention to and that are the things that we typically achieve success in. Simple as that. And setting goals means that I'm only halfway there. That's only the start. A very important start, I might add, but it's only the start. But it's about goal achievement, which is important. It's about making it happen. And it's important that we achieve through our goal. You might say, huh, Hekkie? Well, let me give you an example. If my goal is to summit Everest successfully, it can't stop there. It can't be the only part of my goal. Yes, that's the key part. But very importantly, I also have to add to that goal to say that I would like to summit Everest and, very importantly, get safely back to base camp, safely back home, so to speak. Otherwise, I might be part of the statistics that tells us that approximately, well, somewhere between 200 and 300 people have succumbed, have died after they've summited Everest on their way back from the summit to base camp. We have to achieve through our goals, ladies and gents. And goal setting and the process of goal achievement is not simply a question of I write it down and I do it. And that's where I leave it. It's a dynamic process. It's not a light switch. It takes hard effort and grind and energy, but no question, ultimately, the prize that we get, the satisfaction that we get from getting to a point where we would like to get to. I mean, there's very few things in life that can equal that level of satisfaction and joy. Takes dedication. That's the golden key. So, what if we fall behind? Well, if we fall behind, it's not the end of the world. Love this quote from Darren Hardy. If your plan isn't working, change the plan, not the goal. Don't scratch the goal off your list. That goal is probably based on a dream you've got to achieve something in your life in a certain area. Change or move the date. Life happens. We've seen it through COVID as an example. Although it might be long forgotten, it will always be with us. As long as you stay the course, as long as you're committed to the process. And please remember the ER. It's not emergency room, no. I showed you this picture in the beginning. We used to say goals should be SMART, and those are the acronyms. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound. But for a number of years now, we've added the ER, which means we need to evaluate those goals. See if they're still relevant. And readjust if you need to. Also our completion days, like I said. And we can only do that, ladies and gents, if we make enough time to reflect upon our achievement of our goals. Through coaching sessions with client leaders, I just realized more and more, also in my own life, to be honest, that we don't get off that proverbial hamster wheel, the treadmill of life enough to be able to recharge our life batteries. And part of that being to reflect, to ask myself, where am I going? Am I still on the right course? Or should I change direction and apply control, that management function also in our personal lives of control to get back on track before I get back onto the treadmill of life? And if you battle to achieve your goals, find an accountability partner. My wife's my accountability partner. She comes home and I say to her, let's go and swim. Our laps in the pool across the road and at the gym, and she says, it's been a tough day, I'm tired. I say to her, no, come on. You'll never regret it because you never do. And next week the roles might be reversed. She might encourage me if I'm too lazy or ill-disciplined. Find an accountability partner that you can rely on, or in fact, get more than one accountability partner. Always remember, only you can make it happen. I can't make it happen for you. Only I can make it happen for my goals in the respective areas of my life where I would like to achieve. And not the past areas. The past's gone. Future areas, right? In my book that I wrote, which was my last book or my second book, I've just started with the next one. Chapter 1 is take charge. And ladies and gents, I would like to encourage you to take charge of this process, this very important process in your life, from a planning point of view, but also from an execution point of view, called goal setting and goal achievement. And you might say to me, Hekkie, I'm too old. And I've seen it. I've seen people retire at 60 or 65, and then for the rest of their days, they effectively wait for death. What a shame. What a pity. You're never too old. Anybody, how old is that guy? Please shout it out. Anybody, how old is that guy?
78.
78. Luana, anybody else?
89 is a Tai Chi walker.
Wednesday, gosh, who's that?
Jennifer,
Jennifer. Well done.
thanks.
Wang Deshun, right? Chinese daughter's
Yeah.
grandpa. You think you're going to tell him he's too old to follow his dreams? He understands goal setting and goal achievement, ladies and gents. Satchel Paige, it's not him, it's an Afro-American baseball player. Awesome story. Please go and read up on him. He played baseball, professional baseball, for almost 5 decades. He said, how old would you be if you didn't know how old you were? How old would you be if you didn't know how old you were? Just a number. I'm closing off. C.S. Lewis said, You can't go back and change your start. But you can start where you are effectively. I'm rephrasing it a bit, and you can change the ending of your life. It's all in your hands. You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and you can change the ending. And that gets us back to this quote. And again, I would like to submit that if you are successful at goal setting, goal achievement in 2026 and beyond, you'll have a smile on your dial when you do one day exchange this life for the one after this, if you believe in the afterlife. Looking back at your life and saying to yourself, yeah, wow, I've taken goal setting and goal achievement seriously, and look at what I've achieved, living up to my full potential. Living a life that I did not want, would no longer want to escape or regularly escape from, because I am living that life. And that, ladies and gents, is the end. I'm going to switch to get off presentation mode and get to Q&A soon. If you would like to know what the rest of the year looks like, just go to soldati.com under Growth Solutions. Either email me to add you to the distribution list, hekkie@soldati.com, or go and register via this path, if I can call it that. And the plan is to, on the 20th of Feb, to talk to you about personal productivity, which is something that's very close to my heart. How can we effectively manufacture time? Those are my details. If you haven't asked me to or invited me to join your LinkedIn, if you're active on LinkedIn, your LinkedIn network, please do so. I'll gladly accept. And on this note, I'm going to stop sharing. Probably the shortest I've ever done this, which is probably the ideal time of doing it. So I want to ask you, thanks, Tembani. I'm seeing that. Any questions? Thank you, Krista. Any questions in relation to, thanks, Basil. I'm going to stop calling names, otherwise I won't be able to finish my sentence. Any questions, comments, criticism, disagreements around goal setting and goal achievement? Anybody? Nizam, please go for it. See your hand.
Thank you, Hekkie, for a great presentation. Just going back to setting goals in the various areas of your life,
Yes.
I'd just like to ask for clarity between career and work versus work environment.
Yes. Yes. Nizam, I would like to suggest, and if you look at it at a typical wheel of life, only one of those spokes on that wheel is work, career. And then obviously you might have a main goal, like career-wise, but under that main goal, you might have secondary goals that you need to achieve that collectively allows you to achieve that main goal as part of goals that you might have from a career point of view. The whole idea behind the wheel of life is that we have a balanced life, right? If we only have work, think of that balanced wheel as a hub with spokes to each one of the areas in your specific life that you would like to achieve success in, and the outside being the rim. If I only have one spoke being career, my wheel can't work or that spoke will break. Because if I lose my job and I've got nothing else in life, what carries me through, right? To the end of my life. So in short, one of those spokes should be career, and then it might be my spouse, my kids, other family, friends, hobbies, sports, religion, etc., etc., etc. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, so if we look at that list of items, item 3 was career and work,
Yes.
and item 8 was work environment.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering about like the specific differences between the two.
Yeah. I didn't. Well done. I didn't even pick up on that. So you can decide. It's your
Okay.
wheel. If you want to distinguish between work environment and career, then you do that, or you just consolidate them. It's up to you.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's up
No,
to you.
thank you.
Thank you, Nizam. A good question. And thanks for pointing that out. While we're waiting for another question, we've got another minute or two. I would like to I almost want to say plead to you to not be here in another year's time. Today's our 36th presentation. We started in 2022. But if we do a similar thing, and I always do a similar topic in Jan of every year, let's not Jan 2027 say to ourselves, jeepers, where's the year gone? And I should have actually listened and applied because I've actually done nothing that I would have liked to have achieved. Ladies and gents, any other questions, comments? All good?
Hi,
Yes. It's not
hi.
Tile?
So, what if your goal is unrealistic, but you still want to? Let's say I want to be a billionaire. I know
Yes.
that's unrealistic, but I want to be a billionaire. So, what do you do then?
What's the old story? I'm busy with my second million because my first million didn't work, right? So if we look at SMARTER, the acronym against which goals should conform to be able to make it successful, the R stands for realistic. If you're chasing something that you know you will never achieve, at some point it's going to be demotivating. But why don't you do it in steps? Why don't you say to yourself, obviously that's from a monetary point of view, what is possible? I want to first become a millionaire, getting 100,000 Rand in cash. Then once I've done that, I'm reviewing my goal and saying, okay, I want to change that goal to R1,000,000. And in that manner, it becomes steps that's manageable, that does not demotivate you, but is still in line with what your dream is ultimately. Does it make sense?
Yes, yes, thanks.
Good stuff. Only a pleasure. Ladies and gents, Tembani, we'll take yours as the last one. Go for it.
Just a question. So, how much do external factors affect the achievement of your goal? So, like, or rather, what impact do external factors have on the achievement of your goal? Let's say you have all these great goals, but then let's say you're not in the right environment to make those goals happen. So, what do you do in that case?
Well, if you're not in the right environment, I assume you're talking about career, am I right?
Could be that.
I think I love that saying, and ladies and gents, I understand if you need to go. We're a little bit slightly over time, but I'm happy to carry on, and obviously I'll answer the question, Timbani. From a career point of view, one of my friends used to tell me, you only leave a company when you are very happy. And I said, doesn't make sense. And I said, explain. He said, well, if you leave, in all probability, you have not addressed the issue that's really making you unhappy, which might, to a large extent, involve you. It's the old saying of you take yourself wherever you go. And then I started to think about this. And there's a saying that goes, the grass is greener where you water it, right? So if your environment, external, or wherever you are, makes you unhappy, absolutely it's got an impact on your goals. But I would submit that if you take into account what I just told you, and you take charge more and let that not influence you, or ask yourself if you can get to a point where you are no longer accepting it to influence you, then you might have a manageable proposition. External circumstances obviously yes, the answer is yes, has an impact on our goal setting, but we need to, I think, ask ourselves to what extent we can change wherever we are in terms of our environment. And we also need to ask ourselves, to what extent do we have control to change it? And am I not using that environment or whatever I'm referring to as external circumstances as an excuse? And I'm not saying it's the case in your case. I'm just saying a lot of people might use it as an excuse. Why didn't you achieve what you wanted to achieve? Because I grew up poor. But there are so many examples of people that have grown up poor that are super successful. It's a question of motivation, right? I don't know if that answers your question, Tembani.
Yep. Thank you very
Happy with
much.
that? Good stuff. Ladies and gents, on that note, I'm going to unfortunately have to close our session. I promised half an hour. I'm slightly over that. I wish you all the best and success in achieving your goals in 2026 and beyond. And I can't wait to see you on the 20th of Feb for our next Free Friday Lunch webinar. Have a great weekend. Thank you very much.